Black magic is its own practice. And if you have that in you, that selfish, greedy nature, you can use magic to harm others.
I'm here with Brandi C Kelley, the owner of Voodoo Authentica. I've got to say, first of all, feels like a very cool place to be in. Like, it feels comfortable here. Like when we walked in, yeah, it's just, I don't know, I think these guys agree as well. It's just like a nice vibe. It feels calm and good. So maybe start with your personal experience in terms of voodoo, New Orleans voodoo.
Well, this has really been a lifetime journey for me. Ever since I was a child, I'm born and raised here in New Orleans. And I grew up hearing stories about the great voodoo queen, Marie Laveau. Grew up hearing about red brick dust, cleaning your front steps with red brick dust, all this kind of stuff. And sometimes the stories you hear are negative and sometimes they're positive. And whenever I heard people kind of trash talking Marie Laveau, it didn't really sit right with me. When people trash talked voodoo, didn't sit right with me either. When I heard positive things about it, things that were nourishing, I guess, to my spirit, it resonated with me. And the negative stuff didn't. So it made me really want to explore voodoo in a way that made sense to me. And all of this stuff, when people would say, oh, that's gotta be evil, you don't wanna play with that, you know, that's negative. I never believed that. I never bought that bill of goods about voodoo. And so truly since childhood, I've been on a quest for my own information, my own personal information to find out what is the truth about voodoo. And is it good? Is it bad? What's it all about? And what I'm still discovering every day is that the answer to what is voodoo, it's not really a simple answer, because voodoo is a religion, it is a life path, but it's an experience, and it's a lifetime experience. Every time you open one door and close it, another 5 are open, making you ask even more questions. The minute you get to know one spirit in voodoo and you learn a lot about them, you find out there's an aspect about them that wasn't revealed at first. And through your experiences as you walk through life, they're walking with you. The spirits are walking with you, and they're part of the way they explain themselves to you is by the experiences that they offer you in life, to learn, to get hurt sometimes, to fall down so you can stand back up. So it's not some kind of cakewalk where once you're in voodoo, the spirits do everything for you and you get everything you want. It's like anything else in life. It's a learning journey, and every part of it isn't going to be a bowl of cherries. You know, there's going to be some tough times in there. But if you don't have that, you're really not going to learn at all. So
can you tell me about how when you're referring to spirits here, what's the makeup of the voodoo faith? Like, how many spirits are there, and how does that all work? And what are the spirits? What's the sort of, you know, the practical way of thinking about what voodoo is for people who don't know anything about it?
Voodoo is a religion, and it came to New Orleans via the slave trade. It comes from Africa. And when the people were taken from Africa as slaves and brought to New Orleans, they brought their traditions with them. They brought their spirits with them. We had Catholic missionaries here, and they tried to force the African slaves to be Catholic. And of course, they had to do it on the surface, but underneath, they were really honoring their own spirits under the guise of honoring the Catholic saints. So you might see the Virgin Mary on an altar, but the people, the slaves, were actually honoring their own African spirit forces. So that was a brilliant thing they did for self-preservation, for the preservation of voodoo. It's why we still have it today, because they devised this brilliant substitution, this synchronization. So that's why we still have it today. And so voodoo is a religion. It comes from Africa. And here in New Orleans, we honor the African spirit forces, the Orisha. We also honor Haitian spirit forces, the Loa, because when people were brought here during the slave trade, they were brought directly from Africa, but also from Haiti and the French West Indies. So we have got so many different influences going on in New Orleans voodoo. When you talk about how many spirits there are in voodoo, more than a year would give me time to name. But for simplicity's sake, when we're talking about the Orisha, the African spirit forces, we try to focus on the 7 African powers, the 7 primary spirit forces. We have altars here for each of those spirit forces. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about each when we take a look and visit each Orisha's altar. There are also Haitian Loa who are represented here. It's just, when you start talking about how many spirits are in voodoo, it gets crazy. I could tell you that there's Papa Ogu, but there's Ogu Badagri, there's Ogu Shango, there's Ogu Farai, there's a whole family of Ogu. Same thing with Urzuli, or Zuli Freda, or Zuli Danto. And so that's the Haitian pantheon, and then the African pantheon, it's pretty much limitless, and each house can also have its own personal spirits. But this evening, we're gonna keep it simple, and we're gonna focus mainly on the 7 African powers, which are Orisha, or African spirit forces. They each rule over different areas of human need and desire. And they're very relevant today. In fact, that's what keeps voodoo and the spirits so relevant, is that they keep evolving with us. They keep changing with us. And when we have ceremony, the spirits actually come through. They possess, not like split pea soup and the exorcist and spinning heads. The possessions are called for through drumming and song. They're invited. The spirits are invited guests. And really, if they don't show up, your guest of honor didn't show. So the spirit possession, it's a wanted thing. It's a desired thing. And when they come through, they take over. And they just use that like a horse. They call it, being ridden. When you're being ridden by a spirit, you're the horse. And they can communicate to the people present some pretty important things. They can help settle disputes. They actually can heal people that are having emotional problems, even physical maladies. The spirits perform amazing feats, and they heal people.
So would a spirit come through you in one of these sort of ceremonies?
They can.
And you're a priestess?
I am a practitioner of voodoo. I'm a wife of Dambala, and I'm a wife of Ogu Farai and Ogu Badagri. But the spirit can come through anyone during a ceremony. The spirit can come through a child. They can come through, let's say you were attending a ceremony. It would be more likely that spirit would come through an initiated practitioner of voodoo, but they could come through you. You'll feel when possession starts to take place, you can fight it if you so choose to fight it. And you could, and you may not allow that spirit to come through, because it's it's a little scary. You're just letting something take over and trusting that it's going to leave your body in the good shape it found it in. So, but yes, if you were at a ceremony, you could be possessed yourself.
So what form would that possession take in terms of like behavior or your impulse? What would
it depends on every
you'd be
spirit.
Talking or
every spirit
dancing?
comes through differently. And the things that they do and the things that they ask for let you know what spirit it is. Let's just say we're at a Haitian ceremony and we were singing songs, and Urzuli Freda, a spirit, a loa of love, prosperity, abundance came through. She would ask for her light pink or light blue mouchoir or shawl. Her head would be tied, and she may want some perfume applied to her.
So if that was coming through me, I would be donning all this stuff.
You would be donning all that stuff. You may have a fan, and then behave very flirtatiously with the people who were there. So and you would be completely ridden by that spirit. So this wouldn't be you pretending to be a spirit. This is the spirit using your body for what it needs to do and accomplish. And then you could just kind of walk around, or you may communicate with someone. Often in a Haitian ceremony, the communication will be in Creole. But there are some spirits who don't speak at all. And they may communicate through sign language, body language. Some of them communicate in a language langage that's not that easy to interpret even for people who speak Creole. The mixture of African words and Creole words. And sometimes it takes a little while to interpret. But when you're familiar with possessions, especially if you belong to a certain voodoo house, often the same loa come again and again. So you get to learn their ways. You get to learn what they want, so you have it ready before they even ask for it. And you get to learn the types of things that they're going to be communicating.
Can you explain what the house system is?
Well, my godmother, I'm born and raised in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. I'm a New Orleans girl, but my godmother, Mama Lola, she's Haitian. And I'm a member of her voodoo house. And when I was initiated into her house, I went through something called a lave-tete. It took 3 days, and there's a lot of things that we're not allowed to disclose. But I can tell you that this brings you into a house in a very formal way. You're in then. You're a member of that house. Before, someone you may go to ceremonies and stuff like that, but once you go through this, you are a member of the house, and you have certain responsibilities to your godmother or your mother, mm-hmm. your voodoo mother, and in turn, your voodoo parents and family have responsibilities to you. Normally, you would attend ceremony at different times throughout the year, and whenever there is a feast, you would be expected to bring certain things, and you're expected to be there for your family members when they need you, like you would in any family.
Okay, and so the house could be set up. Could you set up your own house? And is that how it works? Like, what's the sort of...
That's a great question. That's exactly how it works. Most of the time, people, they go to Haiti, they get initiated, they get their assan, their sacred rattle, and then they are a priest or priestess, a mambo or ungan. Mm-hmm. And they are still a member of that family, of the mambo or ungan who initiated them, but they are then able to start their own house, and then they initiate others who can then start their own houses. But you'll still find that they'll still all come together. Oh, the ones that still get along, they'll still all come together in a larger ceremony. And for a while, at least this is the way it should be, you should have your elders in attendance for the ceremonies you're performing initially to make sure you're doing things properly, that you've really got it. Because some of the ceremonies are very involved and they shouldn't just be done willy-nilly. You're like, okay, you're on your own. And that's not how a caring house will operate. You know, your elders will want to participate. They will fly down to wherever you are to help you, to assist you. And then after at least a few years of this type of, guidance, then you a little bit safer to do things on your own. At a ceremony, if you were to come to a ceremony that we would have, it would depend a bit if we were doing a ceremony with our Haitian family or doing a ceremony with our own just New Orleans little crew. But the things that ceremony will have in common, you're going to cleanse your space, which you'll see in a lot of traditions. You'll use sage, cigar smoke. You'll make sure that your ceremony space is very clear and clean, that the energy is good. And then you will normally open to Elegua or Papa Legba, who is the guardian of the crossroads. Elegua is one of the 7 African powers that we spoke about earlier. We have an altar to Elegua, and we're actually going to do a salute to Elegua in a little while.
Cool.
So with each spirit, first of all, Elegua is the door opener. So you have to salute Legba before your door is going to be open to any of the other spirits for communication with them, successful communication. And then you move on through the progression of, if you were doing a Haitian style ceremony, often you'd start with the Prier Guinée. And this is kind of a litany of prayer. You'll say, am I at a Catholic church? Because you'll hear all of the Catholic saints being mentioned. And that's the beginning of most Haitian ceremonies. Begins with the Prier Guinée, opening with Legba, and on to the different spirits. You'll do the Rada spirits, they're the more cool spirits, and then moving on to the Petwo spirits. That's the more hot spirits. That's when you see the drums heat up, you'll see more fire and things like that. Now, throughout each part, you're calling on these different spirits, drumming, singing, chanting, everyone's participating. And during each part, you're singing to Papa Legba. Papa Legba can and usually does come through. Asks for things. He might want certain candy. He may want to have his rum, his special drink.
So this, sorry to interrupt, so this will be through the form of a person who's attending?
Correct. The spirit will possess a person who is in the ceremony. And most often, the Mambo or Ungan, the priest or priestess, but anyone there can be possessed by spirit. In fact, you can get several people at once possessed by Papa Legba in a ceremony. Moving on, each spirit after that, again, you'll have possession. The spirit comes through, possesses a person or several people there, and you can have several Papa Legba in one part, several Ogu. Sometimes you'll have spirits who are showing up and dealing with each other, not just dealing with everyone else, but spirits interacting with one another.
So can you tell which spirit is by their behavior?
You can truly tell which spirit by their behavior, by what they ask for. When they first come through, they're normally going to ask for certain signature items. One spirit will ask for a certain color cloth. Each spirit has a color that is special to them, more than one color usually, that you know when they're asking for this item, or just even the behavior, you immediately know, grab the pink mouchoir, that's Razuli Freda. Normally you've been calling to that spirit. So you're calling and singing to that spirit and they're coming. So you normally know, but sometimes you get a spirit who comes through and it's a little bit of a surprise and takes a minute for you to understand, who is that exactly? Which Ogu is that? Every now and again, it can be, most of the time you know like that, but once in a while it takes a hot minute to understand, well, which Ogu are we dealing with? And Then they're going to ask for their particular color head wrap. Some of them are going to wear like a wrap tied around their arm. You know, Gu is a soldier. You know, he wants it tied real tight. And then they may ask for things like cigars, rum, gin, all that we have ready for them. But we know through their behavior, we know through the things that they're asking for, and even the way they talk or don't talk. Some of them don't talk. Urzuli Dantor, her tongue she's a spirit who had her tongue cut out. So she'll come and you'll hear like, and that's Danto. You know, just right then, she wants her knife. She wants her knives. And you have to respect these spirits. Some of them are they come through like an old man, and you think, oh, that's like a grandpa. You know, and they feel they're your family. They're your ancestors. They're your family, and it feels like family. So you feel good with them, and you feel a family kinship, but you don't disrespect. You expect spirit to come through, but you never take it for granted. Mm-hmm. So you know that if you sing the song, you do this and that, you know they're going to come. You expect them, but you don't ever take even one experience with spirit for granted. You shouldn't. It's all it's sacred. Every moment with them is sacred. And even if the topic matter going back and forth is light and silly, there's one spirit, Papa Gede, and he will come and he'll get his stick shaped like, it looks like a penis. And he's running around making jokes and, running up to the girls like this. And he's a kick. He is the spirit who rules over death and rebirth and sex. So you can imagine, these are heavy topics, silly topics. Death is something that needs to be approached with a sense of humor. And Gede helps us to deal with that cycle of life, death, rebirth. Main healer in the Pantheon, big protector of children. All makes sense, in that cycle. But when he comes, he's a party guy. He's having a good time, and he's getting everyone to lighten up a little bit. And so even when you're having fun and it's light and Gede is kind of acting a little silly, it's still a sacred moment that you don't take lightly and take for granted. Have fun with them, enjoy them, but you don't ever cross the bounds of disrespect.
So what I guess that leads to my next question about the effects that voodoo, people involved in voodoo, what do they get out of being a part of this, of the religion?
These questions, I'm telling you, these questions are like, wow.
I get. Yeah,
you're asking questions that question is different for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that you ask is getting. I could throw some blanket, bull crap on it, but every single person is getting their own thing out of voodoo. I can tell you what I personally get out of voodoo, and what I hear many people saying they get out of voodoo. Oh, man, I'm really... See, that's New Orleans, talking with your hands, right?
As long as the microphone's not rubbing too much, then you just be free to express yourself.
Okay, good. For me, voodoo called to me, and there was no way to get around it. It was shouting, Brandi! So... And a lot of people are called like that, where it's not like, I'm going to choose to do this. Their spirits are really, they can be obnoxious when they want you to follow them. They're coming in your dreams. They're talking to you all the time. And so when you're called to it, you become a part of something. You have to find your path, because there's different paths of voodoo, and you have to figure out where yours is, and spirit helps you to find that. If you're disciplined and you focus and you meditate, spirit really will let you know which which is the correct road to take at this time, because the road will change again. But for me, it's a constant learning experience. It's a constant healing experience. It's something that I know that God and Spirit are with me all the time. It's not about being with them at ceremony. I know every day of my life they're with me, they're helping me. And sometimes they're doing things, putting me in positions that I really didn't want to be in, that made me stronger. It may be a car accident, and all of a sudden, like, why did this happen to me? And then maybe it's take 5 years, but then I figure out why that happened to me and how much stronger I am because of it. So stones will get thrown in my path now and again, but every time I really am stronger for it. I learned something that I wouldn't have known. And God, some of the experiences have been really hard, but now I realize I've gained one of the most important things I think that you can get in this world, empathy. You know, you have to, in order to have people come to you, people come to me all the time and ask me for help with stuff. Well, if I haven't been through a damn thing myself, how can I help you? How can I help you if I've just been walking on a little rosy path? So sometimes I think the people who are going to be a voodoo priest or priestess in this world, I think they may be dealt a harder deck to deal with than a lot of people, because they are going to have so many people brought to them that from all walks of life that have different experiences, and they really need help. They feel alone. And voodoo definitely lets you know that you are not here by yourself, that you are part of a very active spiritual world that's going on all the time. And I find that when people come, whether they're coming for love, success, health, whatever it is, what you are really trying to do is help them to connect to spirit themselves. That's what it's all about. How can I help you to get your own connection with spirit? For me, voodoo and the experience of voodoo is about me getting my own connection with spirit and God that makes sense to me. And when people come to me, I want to help them. That may be through Catholicism. It may be through talking to them about angels. What's their comfort zone? How can I help you to get in tune with spirit yourself? Because I'm a big proponent of give them a fishing pole, don't give them the fish. I don't want someone being dependent on me to hook them up with spirit for the rest of their life. Come, let me show you how to do what you need to do. Hopefully I can help you with it. And then you've got your own direct line to spirit. And forever, you then know I'm not by myself. I've got ancestors watching my back. I got God watching my back. I got spirit forces watching my back all the time. So I think the biggest thing is knowing that you are part of a really beautiful world full of family members, seen and unseen, that are going to give you a pat on the back or a slap on the ass. But they're going to school you.
So you said, so when you referred to God then, that is that a God that you think exists in Catholicism and, you know, Judaism and everything like that? Because I was surprised you mentioned God.
This close talking, it's like I'm trying to go like this, and then so I'm like,
I know,
okay.
I know. My neck's sore.
Right.
It means it's a good in-depth
Jerry
interview.
Seinfeld and the close talkers. Okay.
Yeah, I think this will be
rubbing?
This will be the final question. So
Okay,
yeah,
so you were saying
basically you just use the word God. So
Yeah.
if someone who is a Catholic
I
might
should have
see.
stayed away from that.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, you can
But I
answer,
said
you
it.
can
I
answer however you
let the
want.
God out of the bag.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if a Catholic or some sort of conservative Christian saw what you did, obviously lots of people would just be up in arms about it and go, that's ungodly, you know. But you mentioned the word God. So what is it? How do you sort of explain that?
I'm baptized Catholic. I'm initiated into voodoo also, they're both very precious to me. When I personally speak of God, I'm speaking of God who I feel is the creative force of the universe, of all there is. I'm speaking of God, who in my opinion is known by many names throughout the world. I'm not speaking of, I could tell you, okay, in this tradition, God is called Olodumare. You know, in this tradition, God is called this, God is called that. Mon Dieu, you know. But I'm not really talking about a Haitian perception of God or an African perception of God or a Catholic perception of God. I'm talking about my perception of God. And my perception of God is the creative force of the universe who rules everything and creates everything and is fundamentally the spirit of love, which is the spirit of creation. That's, once again, my own. I'm not telling you this is anyone else's feeling or thought on God. This is my personal thought on God. And when I speak about God, that's who I'm speaking about.
Obviously, Christianity has the commandments. The Bible has the commandments. And there's a sort of set of laws given to people about how to live as good people and the right and wrong things to do. Does that exist in the voodoo religion?
Well, there's not like the 10 Commandments or anything like that. Because of the really odd path voodoo was forced to take, a lot of the traditions of voodoo are oral traditions. So whereas you have this, written Bible, you don't have something exactly like that in voodoo. You have people beginning to write things down in certain traditions like Ifa, they're beginning to write things down. They're beginning to write down a lot of the proverbs. That's separate, but just in the African diaspora, people are beginning in the last few decades to write things down and put them out there. But it is it's mostly an oral tradition. And the big thing that I was taught is you basically don't, it's the golden rule.
Do unto others.
Yeah, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, and don't harm other people in the process of getting what you want. And that's what I was taught by my godmother. They're basic rules of just decency. So no, I haven't been exposed to 10 commandments of voodoo, but each voodoo house normally has its own book, which will let you know the behavior expected in the house, behavior expected at ceremony, all of the veve, the spiritual drawings that call spirit. They're drawings usually done in cornmeal on the ground during ceremony. Beautiful, intricate designs, and each spirit has one. It's kind of like their signature. Mm-hmm. And this calls spirit. So you'll have the veves of that house that call each spirit, and you will have protocol. But they vary from house to house. So sorry, no 10 commandments.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess just finally to give us we're trying to find out about the city as well as, the small things within it. So how does New Orleans voodoo, how does it fit with the bigger picture of the city? Like, what part does it play here?
New Orleans voodoo it's a very important part of our history and culture. It's gotten itself into our music, our food. people who visit here and even people who live here, they don't really understand all of the impact that voodoo has had on our culture. People grow up here and they're eating foods that are African foods. They don't realize that they're always thinking everything's French, French Quarter, everything's French or Spanish. The African influence gets swept under the rug a whole lot, and voodoo is a part of that African influence. So jazz, hello Africa, jambalaya, hello Africa. Can I get an amen, Czar?
Amen. I had some jambalaya last night. It was delicious.
Gumbo. These are, yes, the French have their take on this and that sauce, and my God, they have their own delicious food and have introduced a lot of wonderful foods to us, but they're not the only ones. So when someone's part of I had the Pope of Voodoo, he rest his soul, he passed, from Benin, formerly Dahomey. He was here and he saw the jazz funerals. He had a whole delegation here and they were really excited to see these traditions. And he said, that looks like a voodoo ceremony in Africa. That looks like one of our funerals. And he was seeing, it was the first time he was here, and he saw these New Orleans traditions. He heard the music, and he saw things that were relatable to him. And he had never been here before. And he was happy to see how these things had carried on and kind of found their own life. There was none of this, how dare you steal and bastardize our traditions. He was so happy to see the continuation. See, wow, this is going on. It's taken on a new life. He loved seeing the altars and seeing the river, the commerce, all of the stuff that was going on here. So New Orleans is carrying on traditions which are African, are Haitian. We have the French, we have the Spanish. So we are our voodoo's a big gumbo, but it's uniquely ours. Yes, we have all these ingredients from elsewhere and we have a rich history, but we've put them together and we've made our own gumbo and we like the taste, and it's okay with us if nobody else does, because we're the ones that have to eat it.
Well, lots of people do, I think,
right?
Don't they? I mean, this is people are drawn to this place.
Yeah.
There's no way like it, I don't think.
But New Orleans voodoo is something that we are practicing here, and if someone's interested in it, welcome. We'll inform you as best we can. If you want to be included and come with a good heart, no problem. But don't try to change it. Don't judge it, because if you don't want it, no one's forcing it on you. So it's an acquired taste.
Cool.
But it's totally us, and it's part of one of the things in New Orleans that we should be proud of and hold on to. Africa has many countries to keep their traditions going, and Haiti has Haiti to keep Haitian voodoo going. New Orleans has New Orleans. So it's very important that we are proud of and continue to celebrate and promote New Orleans voodoo, because it has a lot of value in and of itself. So I am a proud practitioner of New Orleans voodoo. I'm also a proud practitioner of Haitian voodoo because I'm a member of a Haitian house and my godmother is Haitian. So, but we got to stick together in New Orleans and really respect where we come from.
Obviously, voodoo in the popular zeitgeist is basically zombies and sacrifices and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, how did it get like that, and how is it actually different in reality?
That's a really good question. It got like that because people usually throw anything they don't understand into the evil pot. And also evil sells. Evil sells movie tickets. Nobody really wants to see someone healed with a voodoo doll in a movie. Hopefully, there are more enlightened people that would like to see that. But in general, people want to see, I'm going to hurt you with this doll, and I'm going to gree and mojo you, and I'm going to make deals with the devil. First of all, there's no devil in voodoo. The devil is part of the, really the Christian theology. And that's number one. So there's no devil worship going on because, there's no devil in voodoo. Secondly, voodoo dolls are used, but we make them here, we use them. It's a great tool for change, but we use them as healing tools. We use the pin as kind of a spiritual acupuncture, to focus energy into a certain area of the doll. Let's say you came in, you had either an actual heart problem or a proverbial heart issue. We would put a pin in the heart. We would send a lot of energy into that area and focus our healing on that area. We may take a hair or nail clipping of yours and place that inside the doll. Can we use a doll like that to hurt someone? If we're practicing black magic, which, by the way, is done on its own. I do not know people in voodoo that I associate with who are practicing black magic. Black magic is its own practice. It doesn't require any theology attached with it to practice it. All you have to have is the will to get what you want and to want it more than you care about the feelings of anyone else. And if you have that in you, that selfish, greedy nature, you can use magic to harm others and to get what you want. We do not use it that way. The other practitioners of voodoo that I associate with don't use it that way. And it's not a practice associated with the voodoo religion in general. Anyway, back to the dolls. These are tools of sympathetic magic, like attracts like. And so when we do something to the doll, it's the result we're expecting to get. A gree bag is, I'll show you one in just a sec. A gree bag, you might have heard the term mojo bag. I'm gonna get my mojo working, or someone stole your mojo.
Yeah.
A gree bag, it's traditionally a red flannel cloth, about that big, and you put roots and herbs in it. You cinch it up with black yarn and usually anoint it with an oil. If it's a love bag, you might use love potion number 9. Everyone's got their own formulas for this stuff, but including Marie Laveau and including people of Africa, people of Haiti, a part of voodoo is definitely doing work for clients, providing them with oils, providing them with gree-gree, providing them with a charm of some kind, a root of some kind. So that's part of pretty much every voodoo I've been around, is helping people through the use of certain charms, oils, herbs. And so we also do that here in New Orleans. Make our gree-gree, make our mojo, make our oils. And we use them. And we use them in pretty much all parts of our life.
And they work?
Yeah, they work really well for us and for the people who, who come in time again. Our musicians, there's a lot of local musicians. They come back every few months to get their mojo bag charged up. Yeah.
Wow.
To keep getting gigs and keeping it rolling. People come in for, they have problems with fertility. We have a little fertility baby. They write us back, they show us pictures of the baby. They send the baby's name. And so it's nice. People really, when they come in, they kind of become part of an extended family, and they write us, they email us, they send pictures, they send letters, letting us know what's going on with them. Did you, we sold them a Get That Job. Well, did you get that job? Yeah, I got that job. Did you get the promotion? Yeah, I got the promotion. So it's nice. They keep in touch.
It sounds like a lot of it is putting people in the right mindset to get, like you just said, like to get them to get in touch with something, it's not that you're going, this is like, you know, spirit in a bag. You're just opening them up to,
I do
be
believe,
aware of stuff, I guess. Maybe.
I do. You're right. You're absolutely right. There is something in people that sometimes they hex themselves. They block themselves. And it's helpful to do a spiritual cleansing often to remove, you know, with sage, Florida water, things like this, to remove those blockages. Sometimes that's enough in itself, just taking that weight off, taking that blockage out. And people do hex themselves a lot. But I do believe in the power of the things that are from the earth. I believe in the power of herbs. I believe in the power of essential oils. And I do believe they have their own presence, their own energy. And that there's a reason indigenous peoples have been using herbs and roots for thousands and thousands of years because they work. You know, sage does purify a space, and certain herbs do draw in sweet influences. And they're used that way because they've worked hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago, and they're still working today. We may think of cool new ways to use them, like they didn't have computers, you know, 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago. So a spirit who is ruling over iron is now ruling over also technology. So as I said, the spirits evolve with us. And there are also plants, essences, oils, and roots attached to each spirit. It's kind of like gives us a guide map. It shows us what to use for what. But I just don't want to go down the road of it's all psychological, because I don't believe that. I do believe you have to help people to connect with spirit, as I mentioned, and to make them try to help them not be so negative, to help them to expect good things for themselves. At the same time, I believe strongly in the natural power and energy within herbs and roots, and that those energies can be directed to achieve certain goals. But the person has to be working with those energies. So they do have to keep their mind right while they work with these energies. And you're right when you think that they're the main ingredient. Because if they're, you know, we know it takes faith. You know, with faith you can move mountains. So faith is not everyone thinks, oh, it's just the placebo effect. It's just the placebo effect. What the hell is more powerful than the placebo effect? You know, if we can take a pill that is not a real prescription and heal ourselves, what's more powerful or worth investigating than the placebo effect? So, you know, give me that sugar pill. I'll take it.
Yeah.
But combined with a person being in their right mind and giving them ingredients to use that are in line with the things they're trying to achieve, that's a powerful combination, I believe.
Yeah.